how do we go about identifying a use case? I mean, I feel like Agentforce started as this really big topic, and now as we're learning more and more about this, we're starting to hone down on these use cases. But from your perspective, an ISV, they're interested in Agentforce. How do they identify a use case and then really understand the value that this agent can bring to their product?
Yeah, great question. And the very first thing I did when I pulled up my first and built my first agent is I created a prompt. And the prompt was to ask one of the LLMs, how do I create the best use cases for my agent? Quite funny, really. But I think it's more
Meta.
that, honestly, Sam. Um, I as a CTO and software engineer in my previous life, I think my starting point has always been the whiteboard. There's one in front of me right now. I'd walk up to the whiteboard and be like, what are these new agentic use cases that I need to think about and create, and how do I add value? The reality is it's different. As an existing software provider, you have fundamental jobs to be done that are driving customer value right now. You know, if you're providing technology in retail, or if you're providing technology in healthcare or life sciences, or in sales and service, you already have jobs to be done that your users are doing. What I would be thinking about is going to those jobs to be done and saying, okay, through this new lens of agentic, and what that really means is, can I help my users by either providing something that works on their behalf, something that's maybe automating these repetitive low-value tasks? How can I add value by assisting the user in the work they're trying to get done? So looking at the jobs to be done, looking at the things that those users are trying to achieve, I'd be asking myself, where can I add value, and how can this be more agentic? So for example, in my previous example in Service Cloud, if I'm trying to identify who the user is and resolve their issue, well, I can go ahead and understand, based on the context of the conversation and the information I have, to go and look up the person, figure out what the order is, figure out what they're trying to achieve. And I can do all of that by the time the user of the service request picks up the request itself. So I'm working on behalf to make that human more effective. And I'm also providing in real time the information that they might need to be able to resolve these issues. So all I'm really doing is thinking about underlying job to be done. How can I assist the human to be more effective in their role? And how will that drive value for that user in the long run?
Love it. Greg, how about you? Anything to add to that?
The only thing I would add for those of you that are not familiar with the concept of jobs to be done, the easiest way to think about it is, who is the user and what problem are we solving for? So that actually brings us back to the value element. And I think that's really important. In the design thinking school, most of you might know the framework from Stanford, from the school. There's an alternative framework from Professor Gianlitka from Darton Business School. And the summary of that is 4 questions. Is the what if, what is, what if, what was, what works. And that final element is important here. So evaluating feasibility, thinking about the technical and operational readiness of what's really feasible today. That will really help you with thinking long term, but then scaling back and saying, yes, this is the one specific use case that really resonates with the customers, that adds value today, and that's something that we can actually build.